Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Let me introduce myself. My name is Ilham Nugroho. I am from Universitas Pekalongan. Today I would like to present my presentation about the analysis of local cultural context in English textbook 10th grade of package C by Ministry of Education and Culture of Indonesia in this event NSPBI 2022. The first thing that I would like to present is about this study. This study is focused on the analyzing of local cultural context in English textbook, which is really important because English is language. And also when we learn language, we focus about learning and understanding culture. So this study will focus on analyzing local cultural context that contain in English textbooks, especially in package C. The first thing is introduction. As we know, English is international language. In many countries, English is the official language of their country. The use of English is really complex, started with political, economic, social, culture, etc. Those fields use English as their official language to share information, to share opinion, and also to make a discussion for sure. The second is the use of English can be spirited with culture in teaching and learning process. As we know, learning language usually also learning a culture. Learning language with learning culture is the same way. It can be separated because when we learn English or when we learn language, also we learn about culture. Taken for example, when we learn English, we will know about the culture in UK or in the United States that use English as their official language. It is same way when we learn about Bahasa Indonesia, we will learn about the culture in Indonesia, such as the dances, the foods, or also the traditional heritage. The third is the use of textbook in English teaching and learning process becomes main thing in delivering material and activity. As we know, the use of textbook is the main thing in teaching and learning process, not only in English, not only in language, but also in all general education. Textbooks have a role to deliver material, also to give exercise, and also to measure the student ability, maybe in learning, in speaking, or in listening, or in writing. After we know about the textbook, we have to know the current curriculum in Indonesia, which is curriculum 2013, which is really important to gain self independent and also self confident in learning something. In package C, the main goal of teaching learning process, especially in English, is student communicative skill because student communicative skill is one of many skill that student can apply in daily life. As I said before, in PKBM or in package C, student more easily to understand English when they can relate with their daily life, such as their activity, their culture, their custom, or anything. They are also relate in my experience when I internship as a teacher in PKBM Insan Cendekia Rokoselo. I saw many students have a low capacity in understanding English, especially when the teacher deliver the material is monotone, or the teacher cannot be can be connected with student because they don't know about the student life or the student daily life, the student that always do in their daily life. As I said before, when teacher can connect with student with their daily life or culture or custom, it makes easier to teacher to share or to deliver the material, and also student can understand easily. After we know about the introduction, the writer would like to deliver three questions that relate with the study. The first is, what type of local cultural context is presented in English textbook 10th grade of Package C by Ministry of Education of Indonesia? And then, how local cultural context is presented in English textbook 10th grade of Package C by Ministry of Education of Indonesia, and then how local cultural context is collaborated with student communicative competence in teaching and learning process, especially in English for 10th grades of Package C. By knowing the three questions that relate with the study, the writer also display the theoretical framework that support this study. This studies This study, entitled The Analysis of Local Cultural Context, an English textbook for 10th grade of Package C by Ministry of Education and Culture of Indonesia, has many supportive quotation that support this study. The first is Definition of Culture by Antonio Lebron, 2013, and then Culture in English Language Teaching and Learning by Yuri Kumagai, 1994, and then The Role of Textbook in English Language Teaching and Learning by MacArthur in 1996, and then Local Cultural Context in English Textbook Teaching and Learning Process in Package C by Curtis Z. Engine 1999, and then by Biram 1993. By the supportive quotation, there are three main discussion. The first is the types of local cultural context in English for Package C, and then the representation of local cultural context in English textbook of Package C, and the third is the collaboration of local cultural context with student communicative competence in English teaching and learning process. After we know about the theoretical framework, we move to the research method. In this research, the writer implied the descriptive qualitative design. It is very relevant to use this research design because this research tend to describe detail of the analyzing local cultural value in English textbook for 10th grade of Package C by Ministry of Education and Culture of Indonesia. Furthermore, this research will reveals a picture of how the local cultural value is presented in English textbook and also in teaching and learning process. The data of this research taken from English textbook 10th grade of Package C by Ministry of Education and Culture of Indonesia, and also the result of interview with English teacher from PKBM Insan Cendekia, Rogoselo. In this research method, the writer will conduct a data collection, which is the writer collect the data from the English textbook and then analyzing and also make a conclusion about the result of the data. Okay, after we know about the research method, we move to finding. In this finding, there are several points that writer will display in this presentation. The first is local cultural context. According to Antonio Lebron, 2013, culture is a set of values and beliefs or cluster of learned behavior that share with others in particular society, and giving a sense of belongingness and identity. This definition emerged an understanding that culture cannot be separated with society and behavior, as explained in theoretical review that linkage between society and behavior give connecting bridge in the way learning language as one of product of culture. According to Yuri Kumagai, 1994, culture is not inseparably related to language but also play an important role throughout the process of language teaching and learning process. He also stated that the question is not whether or not to teach culture, but rather what kind of teaching and can promote student understanding of the nature of the language, communication, and human relation. After we know about the local cultural context, we move to the type of local cultural context by Biram and also by courtesy. According to Biram 1993, as cited in Indawan Shahri and Rini Susandri 2016, there are 8 categories of culture. The first is cultural identity and social group. Social interaction includes convention of behavior in social interaction, beliefs and behavior, social and political institution, socialization, and life cycle, which includes family, school, employment, etc., national history, national geography, stereotypes, and also national identity. According to Cortese and Jean 1999, they classify the material become 3 categories of cultural context. The first is target culture, source culture, and international culture. In this research, the writer would classify the data by this supportive theory by Biram and also Cortese. In this research, we'll focus about local cultural value or context. So, in the Cortese engine classify, the target is source culture. And then we more detail in classifying in BRAM, but by 8 categories of culture. After we know about the supportive theories, the writer will display the example of the data that contained in English textbook of package C 10th grade by Ministry of Education and Culture of Indonesia. For example, is this picture about job interview. A. Good afternoon. May I know your name, please? B. Good afternoon, miss. My name is Suryani Widyaning Tias. A. What is your ideal job? B. I would like to be a full-time computer programmer. I prefer working with a team and also enjoy working individually. By that conversation, the conversation contains name Suryani Widyaning Tias, which is common name in Indonesia. Therefore, this picture contains local cultural context about socialization and life cycle. In the second data, we will see about the Heroes Monument of Surabaya. This is like descriptive text which is described about monument heroes of Surabaya. After we see about the picture, this picture related to the historical place and national history. This descriptive text tells about the Battle of Surabaya, 10 November 1945. This picture contains national history and national identity. We move to the third example, which is Maling Kundang. This narrative is well known in Indonesia. This is folklore entitled Maling Kundang is originally from West Sumatra. This narrative text tells about a Malin Kundang was cursed by a stone by his mother because he was disobedient to his mother. This narrative text contains local cultural context, especially national history, national geography, and socialization life and cycle. Student communicative competence. According to Salama Embark Saleh 2013, communicative competence is ability in communicating effectively in a language requires the speaker's good understanding of linguistic, sociolinguistic, and sociocultural aspect of that language. According to HIMSS 1972, as said in Salamah Embark Saleh 2013, communicative competence refers to level of language learning that enables language users to convey that messages to others and to understand others' messages within specific contexts. We move to the local cultural context and student skill in communication. This point is based on the interview result, and the result is the local cultural context is judged very helpful in teaching and learning process because of the ability of the student. They are low support in learning English. Local cultural context becomes a bridge for teacher to transfer materials to the student easily. There are many ways in delivering material for students using local language in delivering materials, introducing their local culture and also their historical building around them. Indirectly, they connect it with materials and can help them in developing their understanding about English and communicative skills. For the last part is conclusion. Local cultural context is one of interesting thing in language learning, especially in English. The use of local cultural context give bridge for students to understand English reflected with their daily life. Moreover, it can be one of the factors that can support the development of communicative competence. That's why the use of local cultural context is needed in the way teaching and learning process. Thank you.